Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about LACS Rivals, which is taking place this weekend. And we're just going to be focusing on the ultimate section for it today, which has Gluttony, Mars, Shattuck, Spargo, MKLeo, Tweak, Light, and Mia. Now, as far as I'm aware, there is no public seeding of this event. So in today's video, we are not only going to be seeding the event, but we are also going to be determining what the bracket will probably look like. Really quickly before we get into it, I just want to point out that this is not even close to the biggest event of the weekend. The biggest event of the weekend is going to be Alt Quarter the 4th at in Japan. Rather, it's going to be an S+ tier, and this isn't even going to be major. It's only a B+ tier, but it is still extremely top heavy because of the players that are here. And I haven't been following Japan well enough to actually make a video on Alt Core, so that's why we're doing this video instead, just for anyone that was curious. But I think the easiest way for us to start this off would be naming the top seed and the bottom seed. And luckily for us, that's actually really easy to do in this bracket because Spargo is going to be in the bracket, so he's like obviously our top seed, and then you're going to have Mars as our 8th seed, and that's no offense to Mars, but he's just clearly the lowest ranked player at the tournament. Every other player has won a major this year, and Mars has yet to top a major. Now, that's not to say that he can't do it. I think he can still make a run at this event because Mars's ceiling is extremely high, but unfortunately, we just haven't been seeing a ton of his ceiling lately. Straight up, he has not been playing at his peak, and everyone else has been playing extremely well, and there's a lot of people in this bracket that Mars just straight up does not match well into. Now, there's a couple people that I think he should do okay, some decent matchups. I think it's going to be tough for him to make a run, but it's definitely not impossible. At the end of the day, he is still very, very good. He can take up players of this caliber, but he's going to need to play up to their level. Now we got to talk about the second seed, and this was actually the hardest one for me to pick between Light, Mia, and Tweak. Tweak's peak is going to be this really nice win at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami, and his only lows are really going to be these 9th places at Luminosity Invitational and Riptide. For Mia, he's going to get this really nice win at Delta, as well as Cirque and Umabora, for that fact, only getting a 9th place at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami. And Light is going to have a 2nd place at the Throne, 3rd place at both of these events, 1st place at Lit Invitational, and then a 7th place at the Luminosity Invitational. So who do I pick between these 3 players? And I'm not going to be picking Tweak. I think it's clearly between Mia and Light, but I wanted to mention Tweak because he still does have that win at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami. He absolutely deserves credit for that, but I do think it is between Mia and Light, and I am going to be going with Light as our 2nd seed. And the thing that actually put it over the edge was their head-to-head, which just sounds kind of crazy, but Light just has such a dominant head-to-head versus Mia in all of their recent encounters, and he also doesn't have really any bad placements since Riptide. You're going to have Mia with that very, very slight slip-up at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami, but a slip-up nonetheless. Light's had pretty much a perfect season in these past couple months, and I'm absolutely going to be rewarding him for it with that 2nd seed. So if Light is our 2nd seed and it was between him and Mia, then obviously Mia is our 3rd seed and Tweak is obviously our 4th seed, and the 5th seed is between Gluttony, MKLeo, and Shattuck, but it's not between Gluttony, MKLeo, and Shattuck because Gluttony is not going to be getting that 5th seed, and that's simply just because this guy has not really been going to any events. The last time we saw him at a major, he ended up getting 25th place, and it was in October. Now, prior to that, his results were pretty solid. Got a really nice win at Regen, 3rd place at UFA, so I am still going to be seating him above Mars because when we were seeing results from Gluttony, his peaks were definitely higher, but we just haven't seen anything from him recently, so we don't really know what he's going to be playing like, and I've seen what Leo's playing like recently. That guy looks unbelievable. 3rd place at the Throne 2, 4th place at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami, 5th place at the Luminosity Invitational. I guess that was in September at that point, but still, he's been doing extremely well, and I am going to be putting him as our 5th seed, which if you told me a month ago, that would have surprised me, but in these last couple of months, Shattuck has not been doing great. Now, he hasn't been doing terrible by any means, but 2 Invitationals, ends up getting last place. Definitely a little bit unlucky there, but hey, the talent is very high at those events, and it's also very high at this event, which is why a player like Shattuck gets the 6th seed. Really quickly, for anyone curious about who I think is going to win the Rivals 2 bracket, I think Ron Gunshoe is going to take that thing because he played incredible at the coin blocks. I think it's going to be easier to execute with Clarence offline, and also the best player in the world right now is a fleet player, and Clarence is really good at the matchup, so that's my pick. So now we've got the seeding out of the way, we can actually get into the bracket, and I'm pretty confident it is going to look something like this. I wouldn't be super surprised if maybe you had that area of Light to Tweak mixed around just a little bit, but everything else I think is generally in the right place. And this graphic, as always, was made by the lovely ICOOKIEMONTERZ. Their link will be down below, so be sure to check them out and sub while you're down there. But our first matchup in this winner side is going to be Spargo versus Mars, and you're going to be heavily favoring Spargo here. He's won his last 5 encounters versus Mars. Mars hasn't beaten Spargo since the guy has hit in puberty. It has been that long. long, and he does it in Cloud Zero Suit as well. He doesn't even need to bring out the Aegis in that matchup, which is way worse for Zero Suit Samus. That's like one of her worst matchups. And I don't think she does good against Cloud. I still think that's not an amazing one for her, but in contrast, it's definitely better, and Mars is still not finding success. And I honestly wouldn't be super surprised if you saw Mars maybe even trying a different character in this set, like maybe he brings out the Snake potentially. Now, unfortunately for him, Spargo's really good against Snake, so I don't know if that would actually end up working out, but I don't think it's a bad idea when you've lost your last 5 encounters versus someone, and none of those sets have really been that close, at least in recent memory. It's not a bad idea to experiment. Next up is going to be Tweak MKLeo, and I hope the seeding is right, not only so I am right, but also so we get to see this matchup, because it's been a little bit, and by that I mean it's been like April, they played a Luminosity Invitational, so it hasn't actually been that long, but Tweak has such a dominant streak on Leo. He's won their last like 5 or 6 encounters, something actually unbelievable in that head-to-head, especially considering he should be so dominant for Leo, and that's obviously going to be because Diddy Kong does very well into Joker, and I am going to be going with Tweak to win this one for that reason, and mainly because of the streak. But with all of that being said, I think MKLeo has a very real chance of winning this set. Since that's played at the Luminosity Invitational, I think he has gotten exponentially better. His Rebels guards have been more confident again. His gunplay has gotten better. His movement and conversions have been more on point. Leo's just been playing amazingly. Now, Tweak has also been playing amazingly, and he also has a 6-0 record in their most recent encounters, more importantly. So I'm definitely going with Tweak to win this one, but despite the record being so bad, you shouldn't count Leo out completely. Next up is going to be Light versus Gluttony, and this is our 3rd set in a row where one of the players has a 5-set winning streak, and that's going to be Gluttony over Light. And they used to have a lot more competitive sets, but I really, truly, genuinely think that specifically down air has changed that matchup fundamentally, because you're able to edgeguard Fox so effectively. Down air is one of the best edgeguarding tools in the entire game. I feel like that is something that people are heavily underestimating about Wario, and Gluttony has figured that out in 2024/2023, and he has been getting a ton of value out of it. It's so hard for Light to actually make it back to the stage. Both side B and up B are getting absolutely bullied by that downer, and then also Gluttony is just really good at dealing with adaptations, even when it's a player as quick as Light running down, pushing buttons in your face. He's seen it before, he's dealt with it before, and he's going to be able to do it again, likely in this situation. Gluto's got the 5-0 streak, and it's probably going to be a 6-0. And our final winner side matchup is going to be Shattuck versus me. And this is also our first winner side matchup that doesn't have a 5-0 or worse record in recent encounters. So a little bit more analysis that we can potentially add here. For their recent encounters, they've only played twice at the same weekend, with Mia winning the first set and then Shattuck winning the second set. So it's pretty close here. I think matchup-wise, I would favor Corrin, but I am going to be going with Mia to win this one. And that's simply just because Shattuck's form has not been great in these past couple events, and Mia's form has been amazing in these past couple events. Mia is the only player right now that I would potentially consider alongside Spargo as the best player in the world. I still think Spargo is definitely the best player in the world, but I could see Mia in that conversation. That's how good he's been doing recently. And I think Shattuck, he said he tweeted like he's been focusing more so on school or something, which is like, you know, fair enough. Been there, done that. But if you want to beat Mia, you need to focus on literally just beating Mia. On the loser side, starting off with Mars versus MKLeo, and I absolutely need this set to happen so bad. They haven't played since 2021. That's how long it's been. 3 years at this point. And there are 3 main factors that make me think MKLeo is going to win. The first one is going to be that Zero Suit and Joker both nerfed significantly since MKLeo and Mars were at the top of their game. And the Zero Suit nerfs just hit way harder than the Joker nerfs in my opinion. Now, at this point, that shouldn't be as big of a factor, but still something to consider. The second thing is going to be the fact that form-wise, Leo has been just way better than Mars in these past couple of months. Undeniably, he's been better. And the final thing is going to be the fact that Leo just won his last 3 encounters up against Mars. So all of the things are either slightly favoring Leo or significantly favoring Leo in terms of his form. And I would expect him to win this, but I would expect this to be a banger regardless. Next matchup is going to be Light versus Shattuck, and this is yet again another really interesting one. Of their last 4 encounters, it's been 2-2, dead even, and you're going to have Light winning their most recent encounter. And because of that, as well as 2 other main factors, I am going to be having Light as winning this set. And the other factors are going to be the first one, Fox just destroys Corrin. Matchup is absolutely awful for Corrin. Fox is one of the characters that is actually able to capitalize on Corrin's lackluster mobility and use it against her. So that's obviously really annoying. And the second reason is going to be Shattuck's form just hasn't been as good. Not to sound like a broken record here, but it's just true. Hasn't been playing at the best, and I think Light has been playing at his best that we've seen since, like, maybe ever, to be honest. He's actually been killing it, so I do think that Light should win that one, but Shattuck's done it before. Back to the winner side, you're going to have Tweak versus Spargo as our next one. And you're going to have Spargo beating Tweak in their only recent encounters. One of them happening at Circa, and their most recent one going to Game 5 at the Throne 2. But it ultimately does go into Spargo's favor. And I think Tweak is one of the best players in the entire world to actually have a chance of taking out Spargo in a tournament. But I'm still going to be going with Spargo to win this one because despite the matchup being good for Diddy Kong, despite the head-to-head honestly being pretty solid for Tweak, especially relative to everyone else in the world, Spargo right now just looks like the best. Straight up, I just don't think anyone's going to beat him because I just think he's better than everyone, and I'm just going to leave it at that. And the other winner semis matchup is going to be Glutony versus Mia, and I'm definitely going to be going with Mia to win this one. Matchup is just miserable for Warrior. The head-to-head is definitely going to be in Mia's favor, but you have had Glutony taking a set off Mia before, and the one nice thing about the matchup is going to be the fact that Game Watch is extremely weight, and Wario is definitely not the best character at killing by any means, but, you know, down tilt, dash stack, raw back airs, downers off stage, and especially Waft start to look a lot more effective on that paperweight of Game Watch. But with that in mind, you know, Game Watch is going to hit Glutony once, and he's just going to die. And that's literally all he's going to do. The disadvantage state for Wario is so ungodly bad in the recovery aspect and the neutral aspect. The matchup is just really, really miserable for Wario, and Mia almost always wins. I ended up switching these sets around in the loser side just so we didn't have any repeat sets right away because we would have had one with MKLeo and Tweak. So don't worry about that. Instead, worry about our next set of Tweak versus Light. And you do have Light winning their last 3 encounters, but their only recent encounter is going to be taking place at the Lit Invitational, which does end up going to Game 5. So extremely competitive, as you would always expect from a Tweak and Light set, but I do think that Light is going to continue his winning streak against Tweak, get that up to 4, and that's really just because I think Light has looked unbelievable in these past couple of events. And Tweak has also looked very good, but he's been a lot more hit or miss. When Tweak is playing good, he looks like the best player in the venue by far, but it's also very evident when he's not playing at his peak. And I think Light has just been overall a lot more of a consistent threat throughout these brackets, and I'm going to be betting with consistency on this one. Next up is going to be Glutony versus MKLeo, and in their most recent encounter, MKLeo finally broke the streak that Glutony had held over him since, I believe, Pound 2022, where he was just winning over and over and over again, and there was nothing that MKLeo could do about it. Well, he finally did something about it in their most recent encounter, and I think he's going to do something about it in this encounter as well. The fact that MKLeo was able to just figure it out gives me so much confidence for him, because Glutony has, like, potentially the best adaptations in the world. If you're going to give him credit for something, that's the thing that you absolutely give him credit for. So the fact that MKLeo so late in the meta was finally able to get that dub over him gives me a lot of confidence that he's been putting work into that matchup to ensure that he is not losing it again. Now, I'm sure Glutony's been doing the exact same thing. MKLeo and Glutony, I'm fairly sure they are pretty close, so they obviously do not want to be losing to each other, but I think MKLeo's work ethic is going to be paying off, and I've also, you know, seen his work ethic pay off, so I'm going to be going with it. In the winners finals, you got Spargo, Mia, loser semis, Light, Leo. And for the winners finals, I'm not surprised at all to see these two players. And obviously, I'm not surprised I was the one who made the bracket. But what I mean by that is I feel like these two guys are clearly the top 2 players in the world right now. And maybe that would be a little bit different if Acola and Sonics were consistently going to stuff. But they're not consistently going to stuff. And Spargo and Mia are. And they are performing at every single event that they go to. And I want to look at Spargo's and Mia's head-to-heads. Because in their early sets, you're going to have Spargo finding a lot more success with the Aegis. He wins the first set off of the Aegis. He wins the second set entirely off of the Aegis. Third set is going to be with the Cloud, but the fourth set that he ultimately loses is also going to be with the Aegis. And when they play at Don't Park on the Grass, it is no Aegis, just Cloud from Spargo. And that is what I'm expecting from Spargo at this event as well. I would be pretty shocked if he ended up trying the Aegis, unless it was in like a losing effort. Maybe he wants to try Switch, which I don't think is a bad idea, and that is a boon for Spargo, the fact that he has 2 characters that are good into Game & Watch. But Mia is also really good at both of those matchups. He's so good at finding the edge guards on Cloud and Aegis and just bullying those characters in their disadvantage state, weaving around the sword despite having a severe mobility, or rather, I guess, disjoint disadvantage there. So even with all of those things against Mia, I still think he's got a chance, but it's a chance. I'm favoring Spargo here. Absolutely. I do think that he is going to win this one. He's won against Mia in a majority of their recent encounters. Of course, not all of them. It's been like, 3-2, obviously. It's been very back and forth, but Spargo has just been barely coming on top. His character's barely favored in the matchup, and I just think he's little bit better. And for all those reasons, I'm picking him to get to Grand Finals. In the losers semis, you're going to have Light versus Leo, and I think that Light is going to win this one, just considering that he's beaten Leo in their last 3 encounters. You're going to have Leo beating him in the winner's side of Luminosity Mixes Miami, but in the run back, you have Light getting his revenge, and then he beats him, not only the Joker, but also the Byleth at the Throne, too. So the reserve character in Leo's pocket doesn't end up working out, and his main doesn't end up working out. We're kind of running out of options here. Now, there are other characters that you could have Leo trying. He could try Meta Knight. I wouldn't recommend it. He could try Aegis. I wouldn't recommend it. I think his best bet is to probably just try to stick it out with the Joker. I definitely think that Joker has the tools to beat Fox, especially when you have Arslan online. You're going to be able to definitely box up against him there, but you just need to play very calculated. You need to be amazing spacing-wise with your gun, and that's really difficult to do when Light is running at you like a literal bullet train from across the stage. In the losers finals, you're going to have Mia versus Light, and this set is like low-key a statistical anomaly because you have Mia, who is ranked higher than Light, playing two characters that destroy Fox, potentially Fox's worst two matchups. Yet in their last 5 encounters, Light has 4 wins on Mia, including their most recent encounter at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami, and it's just because Light is so good at those specific matchups. The way he plays around Key and Up B from Game & Watch or Minecart and Anvil just by dash dancing away from his opponent and outspacing them is actually unbelievable. And the discipline that you need to do that from Light is also something that is next level, because it's already hard enough to just be playing at the pace that Light is playing at, but to be playing at the pace and not be pressing any buttons, to be very carefully picking your openings is something that just takes a whole another level of processing. Light has been very successful in this head-to-head despite the odds not being in his favor, and I do think that he is going to win that one. But I don't think he's going to win this grand final set up against Spargo, because that's where his odds end, as Spargo has won their last 5 encounters, including beating him twice in the grand finals of the Throne too. So yeah, I think Spargo is going to win this event with no sets dropped. And with that, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The sport has been absolutely unreal as late. If there's anything I left out, got wrong, or if you just want to say hi, leave a comment down below. Be sure to sub while you're down there, and I'll see you all in the next one. See ya!